Welcome to Hanni and Friends Read-Sporking of Hogwarts Exposed. I am Hanni. When you see my avatar on the screen, you will know that I am narrating, although I may overlay gameplay to make it more visually interesting.
This image on the screen represents the commentary written on the blog.
And this image on the screen represents our commentary on the blog's commentary.
Sometimes I may find something too distasteful to narrate, or I will perhaps be feeling poorly, so I will synthesize my own voice instead. Now we have a few words from our commentary commentator. Please make it quick.
Hey everybody, welcome to our group reading of the sporking commentary of Hogwarts Exposed. This is one of the most distasteful fanfics to have come out of the Harry Potter fandom, but since everybody hates J.K. Rowling, our concern is more with the content Neil put out into the world, rather than how in character these characters are. Which they're really not. So anything you hear that says Hermione would never, Harry would never, etc., that's the original commentators. I originally told my friend Hanni about this fic because the way it portrays nudism is so at odds with our lived experiences. He decided to play it for his fiancée during a video date, but the screen reader couldn't properly capture the inflections or stage directions, so now here we are. This will be read by a mix of real people, cloned voices, and real people's cloned voices. Obviously, we weren't going to drag the actual actors into this, so you're going to have to get used to their voices sounding different, but that might be for the best anyway. All characters will be voiced by adults because holy shit, do you not want to hear children saying some of this dialogue? Okay, enjoy.
Group Sporking. Table of Contents. Hogwarts Exposed. By Neil. Alternate title.
So, Hogwarts Exposed. You've probably seen it mentioned in the Sporkings featured on Das Sporking, and all Sporkers refer to it with either intense hatred, mind-numbing fear, garment-rending rage, absolute horror, or a combination of all four. Well, when you see these Sporkings, you will see exactly why we tend to react that way. Hogwarts Exposed is the first fic in a series of 4 that author Neil has produced, and they are nothing but the result of the twisted and perverse workings of the mind of one of the foulest, most disgusting, deviated, and misogynistic pedophiles that has ever graced the internet. Celebrian? Tame. Subjugation? Yawn. Little Miss Mary? Doesn't even compare. This is, without a doubt, the most disgusting fanfiction ever written. The reason? Because the author himself is the most pretentious little shit ever. He has an easy way to excuse any of his revolting fantasies. You point out what they are, he hand-waves it by saying, "You're just prejudiced." And you will see why. Warnings. Yes, this fic has warnings. Excessive nudity, language, torture, pedophilia, voyeurism, water sports, scat, sex, rape, and rage-inducing topics. This fic should not be read by children or other living things. Ever. I have indicated each sporker, and most of them are over on Journal Fen. Sporking Canon, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Hogwarts Exposed. Chapter 1. Memories of the Way We Were.
Sporked.
By Maeve Assyria.
Owl, the author. Here.
No thank you.
Rating R.
R. This is at least XXX.
Written between Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix. Genre, action, romance.
Action? Where? When? I've read ahead up to chapter 24. I saw no action except that disgusting bit where Hermie Sue is abducted. And romance? Oh, I suppose if you think Perfect Harry Stew and Perfect Hermione Stew combine into romance.
Era, multiple eras.
Huh? There is only one era in the story. Granted, the timeline is messy, but that doesn't mean you've got another era on your hands. It just means you're a sloppy author.
Main characters Draco, Harry, Hermione.
And a shitload of Sues. Does Draco ever even appear in this fic? Oh, please tell me he's not gay. Stereotypically gay Draco always ends up with mysteriously gay Ron.
Ships? None.
None? Well, what about Hair Stew / Herm Sue? Is that not a ship? And Ron / OC and Ginny / absolutely everyone? And the one-sided Jamie Sue and her quote-unquote gift / hair stew? Wait. Maybe he thinks ships refers to actual ships, like boats. That could be it.
Summary: Hermione hasn't seen her two best friends in 5 years. Harry has been living a self-imposed exile in the Muggle world, and Ron has been imprisoned in Azkaban. Her life is about to change dramatically.
Oh, I can't wait. Bring the nakedness!
Disclaimer: this story is based on characters and situations created and owned by J.K. Rowling, various publishers including but not limited to Bloomsbury Books, Scholastic Books, and Rainco's Books, and Warner Bros. Inc. No money is being made, and no copyright or trademark infringement is intended.
Yes, and if J.K. Rowling saw what you're doing to her characters, she would sue your ass into next week. Hey, sue your ass!
And as an aside, as of the year of our Lord 2025, nobody gives a fuck what J.K. Rowling thinks because she's a terrible person and she does not deserve respect for her IP.
Author's notes.
Tip: if you haven't got anything to say, then just don't type author's notes purely to leave the space behind it blank.
Saturday, August 30th, 2003. As Professor Granger located an empty compartment and took a seat, her mind wandered back to her first ride on the Hogwarts Express 12 years ago.
Has it really only been 12 years? It seems like a lifetime ago.
She thought to herself,
It's amazing how something as insignificant as searching for a lost toad can change you life forever.
You life. You life, me Jane.
for Hermione Granger's life was definitely changed. The day she met Ron Weasley and Harry Potter. Little did she suspect that those two nervous 11-year-old boys would end up as her best friends. Nor could she ever have envisioned the adventures they would share together. Hermione's eyes filled with tears
Yeah, I'd be crying if I were stuck in this fic too.
as she remembered what the boys looked like that first day on the train, Harry with his unruly black hair and broken glasses, and Ron with his smudged nose and mouth full of chocolate frogs.
Hermione, they were so ugly they made me cry.
It's strange how one's perception of events change as time passes. Who would ever think that being chased by a mountain troll and nearly killed in a girl's toilet could become a fond memory?
I don't think Ken and Hermione would consider those fond memories exactly.
Who in the right mind would ever wish they could be trapped in Devil's Snare again, or be a living piece in a game of wizard's chess? The memories of those 7 years constantly preoccupied her. If only she could turn back time and experience again those wonderful years and be with Harry and Ron all over again.
You wrote this after Goblet of Fire? Then you know about pensieves! Surely perfect Hermo-Ninny would know where to purchase a pensieve.
But sadly, a time turner can only turn back time a few hours, a day at most, but it won't allow one to relive her life and correct the mistakes she's made. And most sadly, Hermione reflected, it can't bring back people or restore friendships lost years ago. Hermione Granger finished Hogwarts with the highest marks ever achieved by a student since the founding of the school over 1,000 years ago.
She was the smartest witch of her generation. No one said anything about her being the smartest witch that ever witched. By the way, if she's the smartest witch, does that mean there's a smarter wizard out there?
She was believed by many in the wizard world to be the smartest witch alive.
Clever with books, but stupid when it comes to life choices.
Hermione thought to herself,
All these years, and not so much as an owl from either one of them. How could I have been so stupid?
Owling your friends instead of waiting until they owl you. Don't do it.
Professor Granger tried to bring herself back to reality by going over her lecture notes, but with little success. Thinking of teaching Transfiguration just reminded her of the circumstances surrounding her receiving the position.
Excuse me. Firstly, where's McGonagall? I need my McGonagall fix. Secondly, Hermione wouldn't teach Transfiguration. If you really need her to teach, Arithmancy's the ticket, or Ancient Runes. She loved both of those subjects. But, of course, the silly Sues in this fic wouldn't be taking her classes then, as most of them are 11 years old.
It all started when the Centaur friends had interpreted that Harry, Ron, and she were the three proclaimed by the prophecy to be the coven that could defeat the Dark Lord.
I thought you wrote this before Order of the Phoenix?
Nearly 1/3 of the wizard population in England had died due to the war, and so it was declared by the members of the Order of the Phoenix that they should immediately seek out Voldemort and destroy him, no matter what the cost.
I thought you wrote this before Order of the Phoenix?
Harry had fought for Ron and Hermione to stay behind, as he feared greatly for their safety. Hermione long suspected, however, that he looked upon the final battle between Voldemort and himself as a personal one, and he didn't want to risk any others.
Voldemort killed Harry's parents and marked Harry as the man who would destroy him. How much more personal could it get?
The Order insisted that Voldemort could only be defeated by the combined efforts of Harry, Hermione, and Ron.
I thought you wrote this before Order of the Phoenix.
They knew that Harry would die if he battled Voldemort alone, and with his death, they would lose any chance of defeating the Dark Lord. Knowing that he couldn't persuade them otherwise, Harry insisted that the families of the three should be protected, since Voldemort knew the three of them made up the Covenant. That was agreed on, and both Ron's and Hermione's parents moved into the castle at Hogwarts. As soon as they were safe, the members of the Covenant were given the gifts by the Order. Gifts that would aid them in the coming battle, it was hoped. Harry had been given the sword Excalibur. Ron received the Staff of Merlin, and Hermione carried the Orb of Mab.
But because the Orb of Mab is a bloody, stupid, half-assed name and clearly made up, try Googling it, Hermione fondly referred to her orb as the Bro of Bam. If you were going for Queen Maeve, she's generally referred to as Mab, not Mab. Next thing we know, you'll be talking about Queen Mab.
Dumbledore had referred to them more than once as the heart, the mind, and the soul.
Ron's the soul? But I thought this fic was all about Ron being the evils now.
Due to the obscure nature of the spell and charms that bound the three of them, some personal questions had needed to be asked.
Oh, of course.
Hermione was more than a little embarrassed when she was asked if Harry and her had ever been together intimately.
Ken and Hermione would have probably answered something like this.
I apologize in advance for this. That's none of your bloody business, but if you must know, no, we haven't been together intimately, as you like to put it, because being the only wizard Voldemort ever feared, you're clearly terrified of using more explicit language than that.
Okay, she might not be that rude to the headmaster, but at least it conveys how Ken and Hermione would feel about the matter.
Naturally, Hermione goes for, Professor, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. But yes, we have been together like that. And if you want me just reading it straight, that said, giggle, blush. Oh, Professor, I blush. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing, giggle. But whisper, yes, eyelashes flutter. We have been, ... together, ... like that, blush. Yeah, you can see why I chose not to do it that way. Also, Harry and her, grits teeth.
But on answering yes,
My copy of Order of the Phoenix is missing the pages where this happened. It's probably one of those annoying censored editions. In fact, my copies of all the books are missing the pages where this happened.
she was told that for this quest to be successful, the heart and mind had to be joined.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because why wouldn't the soul also need to be joined? Like, if anything, this should be an OT3 situation. I'm gonna go stand over here. Sorry.
Oh, great. Not only is this a quest, but in order to beat Voldemort, Harry and Hermione have to sleep together. Those pages must have been missing from my copy of Deathly Hallows. I can't imagine how that happened. I should probably return it to the shop and demand a new copy.
I want to see the look on the shopkeeper's face.
The embarrassment didn't stop there though, as she had to face Ron after answering knowing that they hadn't ever been intimate.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, being intimate is now a capital-worthy term. So wait, now Hermione's embarrassed because she slept with Harry, who was her boyfriend, but not with Ron, who I assume was not. Sure, this could be a reference to Ron's ongoing canon jealousy, his reactions to Crumb, the idea of Hermione kissing someone, etc. But I just don't think the author's good enough to write that. Not to mention that this is directly contradicted in Chapter 2, where we learn that Ron once caught Harry and Hermione in bed together. How could he not know about it?
The fact that Ron already knew about Harry and Hermione's relationship during the 5th year did little to lessen the redness that Hermione could feel on her face. Dumbledore never answered her questions about what would have happened if Harry and she had not been together. She even muttered under her breath that they probably would have been required to perform the duty with witnesses.
Yes, they probably would have. And that's sick.
I don't kink shame, some people are into that.
Nor did he answer when she asked what would have happened if Ron and her had been as intimate as she and Harry were.
The world would have exploded in a million fiery stars and it would have been a better, Sue-free place. Also, kudos to Subeldore for not telling Harry this before. What if Hermione had slept with Ron instead of Harry? What if she'd been a little more like her canon self and hadn't slept with anyone at all at Hogwarts?
First of all, we actually don't know whether or not that's the case, just because it wasn't in the books. I mean, this is fanfiction, am I right? Secondly, what would have happened if Ron and Harry had slept together? Or is it just the woman or the girls sleeping with one or more of the boys is what affects the prophecy? It's a pretty flimsy prophecy, if you ask me, if it depends on their sex lives. Just saying.
Now, thinking back on it, and with the aid of hindsight,
It comes to your aid whenever you think back on it.
she was glad that Harry and her had the intimate relationship when they did. It gave her very fond memories to look back on.
Looking back on the people I've done, I was trying to save the world, play my part by playing with his parts. Now I will show you the shape of my...
The sex, it was amazing. Amazing! Super, one might even say.
The defeat of Voldemort certainly wasn't simple, and without the gifts, it would have been impossible.
Oh, where would Hermione be without her bro of Bam?
But defeat him they did. After his essence was banished into oblivion, they returned to Hogwarts. After 3 years, they knew the wizard world could rejoice.
Rejoice, Emia Shiro.
3 years? It was a bit faster than that, you know.
They were finally free of the constant dread of the Dark Lord. None of them could keep the smiles off their faces as they grew closer and closer to their school and families. Those smiles were quickly replaced with frowns and then looks of fear and anguish. As they approached Hogwarts, instead of seeing a great celebration, they all witnessed truth of the war in stark reality. Smoke was rising from the ruble that had once been the location of the Great Hall.
What? Now you know the final battle was in the Great Hall? So you've read Deathly Hallows.
Voldemort had ordered a Death Eater attack on Hogwarts before he'd been destroyed.
You've read Deathly Hallows!
The headmaster and 2 of the professors had lost their lives in the attack, along with 21 students. 6 other people had also been killed. Both Hermione's and Ron's parents had been killed, along with 2 of Ron's sisters.
2 of Ron's sisters. Author, I don't know what books you've been reading, but Ron only has 1 sister, and she's very much alive, as we'll find out soon enough. If you mean 2 of Ron's siblings, then say so. Also, entered orphaned Hermione and orphaned Ron.
Harry, of course, blamed himself for having suggested they take refuge in the castle.
Of course. Does anyone remember whether Harry has ever actually said, "It's all my fault"? Okay, he may have done, but certainly not as often as he says it here.
A service was held, and the hillside beyond the Quidditch field was turned into a memorial cemetery to honor those who had lost their lives. Harry didn't attend.
The asshole. Why wouldn't he attend?
When Hermione returned to her room, she found a simple note on her bed.
When someone destroys what is most precious to the ones he loves, that someone no longer deserves their love or friendship, I can never give you back what I have caused to be taken from you, and I cannot bear to look at your faces, and know that I am responsible for the grief displayed upon them. I will love you both always. I know the love you have for each other will see you through this time of grief, and that together you will in time find happiness. All my love forever.
There was a comment written here, but it was such an egregious misreading of what had been written that we decided not to include it.
It was signed Harry. Hermione ran as fast as she could to his room. but to her despair, she found he was already gone. Hermione lowered her head to her cupped hands.
Evil Minerva McGo had transfigured her hands into cups. These were handy for catching tears, though. Plus, they served as a faux floss, so Hermione didn't complain too much and usually walked around with a cup of coffee and a cup of tea.
Tears came to her eyes. She missed her friends, and remembering such times did little to help the feeling of separation she felt from them. Suddenly, she was shocked.
Oh yeah, man, someone use an electroshock spell on her. Please.
Back to the present with a loud rapping on the glass of the compartment door. The lovely red-haired girl on the other side of the window said,
"Can I join you?"
The lovely red-haired girl is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing Skink Ginny.
Hermione looked up in surprise, quickly wiping the tears from her eyes.
Oh my god, I love that that rhymed.
Ginny, I can't believe it's you. Come in. Come in.
As soon as Ginny had closed the door, Hermione put her arms around her and had held her in a tight embrace. Ginny returned the embrace, and they both stood like this for a few moments before the silence was broken by Ginny saying,
"Hermione, are you all right? I thought I saw you crying."
I was. Every time I think of...
Hermione continued.
Horrors of being in this fic.
As if knowing exactly what Hermione was about to say, Ginny interrupted her.
I know.
Ginny
Continued.
Look at the bright side. At least you were made perfect when the author brought you into this fic. I dated a few different guys in Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince, and suddenly I'm the school slut.
It was so hard to lose so much you love and cherish in one day. I don't think I'll ever fully get over it.
Ginny, that was not what I intended to say.
As if trying to change the subject, Hermione quickly suggested,
Sit down, Ginny. It's so good to see you again. What are you doing on the train?
Why, she's going to Hogwarts, home of the Sues. Ginny is, of course, a Slytherin in this fic. I mean, that's where all the scary Sues go.
For those of you who aren't familiar with Dawes Sporking, a Scary Sue is not a Scary Mary Sue. A Scary Sue is someone who's deliberately written like a piece of shit to make the Mary Sues look better by comparison.
Are you going to visit friends in Hogsmeade? Why didn't you fly or apparate?
Actually, Professor, I'm travelling to the same place you are. You're looking at the new Muggle Studies Professor at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Muggle Studies, with Ginny Weasley, daughter to Arthur and Molly, both of whom have lived in the wizarding world their whole life. Ginny doesn't know squat about Muggles. If anyone, I'd expect Hermione, whose parents are Muggles, to teach this subject. The only Muggle thing Skink Ginny would know anything about is Muggle contraception, because she's not satisfied with all the wizards in England. She likes her some non-magical sex too, occasionally, and since she can't exactly say, "No worries, James?"
Joe.
Right, no worries, Joe. I took my contraception potion. I've got my STD shield up because, no offense, but you look nasty. It stands to reason Ginny would know about Muggle contraception.
Also, can we, talk about the commentator's slut-shaming because it actually makes me very uncomfortable. I don't think Ginny's a skink. I don't care if she has dated all of the wizards in England and is now fucking around with Muggles, Americans, or both. Who cares?
I assume we both took the train for the same reason. Fond memories.
Hermione tried to hide the shocked expression she was sure covered her face.
You are going to teach Muggle studies? Ginny, don't detest me for saying this, but what do you know about the Muggle world?
Well, thank you. Hermione, for the first time in this fic, we see eye to eye.
First, Hermione, I could never hate you.
Fuck off.
Wait, why? What the fuck did she do wrong?
And second,
First Lee. Second Lee. Don't you know any grammar?
I've become rather knowledgeable about Muggles. You know that my father always had such a love for Muggle inventions. Well, after I left Hogwarts, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
A look of pride washed over her friend's face.
You, Professor Granger, are looking at a graduate of New York University.
Oh yeah, and you would have so got into New York University without a diploma from a Muggle secondary school. Sure, and you would most definitely be able to complete a course successfully without the required secondary school knowledge. Don't you try your Sue magic on me, bitch.
Although, for the diploma, she could have just forged that, but okay, whatever. And a lot of courses, even college and university courses, are taught at a fairly rudimentary level. Nowadays, they do assume that you go in knowing absolutely fucking nothing.
Hermione couldn't avoid showing a combination of pride and envy. She had planned on going to a Muggle university herself after completing Hogwarts. Her parents had always dreamed of her becoming a doctor, and in memory of them, she had wanted to fulfill that dream. However, when Professor McGonagall asked her to take over as Transfiguration Professor, she had found it impossible to turn her down. Not only was it an extreme honor to be offered such a position directly out of school, but also she had such respect for Minerva that it was impossible to say no, especially after her former teacher had almost died, saving the lives of 2 students during the devastation.
If McGonagall asked Hermie Sue to take over, then the woman's lost her touch, not to mention her mind.
Congratulations, Ginny. I'm so proud of you, but then you did finish first in your class, so I shouldn't be surprised. It's certainly going to be nice to have another woman on the staff. I felt extremely outnumbered these last few years, and now with Minerva retiring...
What? Hooch, Pomfrey, Sprout, Trelawney, Grubbly Plank, Sinistra, Vector, Pince, and those are only the ones we know about. Hey, now that I think about it, where's Hagrid in this fic? Well, I suppose he's better off not being in it. I mean, Hagrid naked. Ugh.
Hagrid also isn't a female staff member?
Ginny interrupted.
Knowing that I'd be teaching alongside you is one of the reasons I decided to take the job when it was offered by Professor Snape.
Yeah, Snape would be really likely to offer Ginny a job. Actually, I can't seem to imagine Snape offering anyone a job. You'd have to grovel and beg and prove your worth before undilutedly awesome Snape would want you for a job.
Hermione, we were such good friends. And then, well, when Harry broke up with you, and well, I know he dated Katie for a while, but...
Katie? Katie Bell? Yeah, I see that happening.
Ginny, it's all right. I know what you're trying to say. Harry and I... Well, I guess it must have been all hormones. We were just so comfortable with each other. And I guess I just convinced myself I was in love with him.
Hermione.
Which is why I slept with him. That, and because I'm a whore. And because I think that 15 is the legal age of consent in the wizarding world. And because if I didn't sleep with him, we wouldn't have been able to beat Moldy Shorts. Not that I knew that at the time, but I'm perfect, so my intuition alerted me to all the facts long before Professor Subaldor told me.
Yeah, okay, point of interest, unless she got paid for sleeping with Harry, that doesn't make her a whore. And second of all, age of consent. Plenty of teenagers under the age of consent sleep with each other all the time. It is not a big deal.
Harry, on the other hand, should have broken up with me much sooner.
Yes, Harry, you should know better than to sleep with a girl you love if she offers herself to you on a silver plate with platinum trimmings.
Not once did he tell me he loved me, probably because he never did, really.
You could have said it first.
I mean, she could have said it, and then he just didn't say it back, but okay, whatever.
Ginny, I don't blame you for our breakup.
Hermione.
Even though you're so skanky, you probably slept with Harry while we were together.
Huzzah, more slut-shaming. For no reason.
And yes, there is nothing more I'd rather see happen than us become good friends again. It's been so lonely without Harry and...
Hermione hesitated before saying,
Ron.
Ron! Oh, Ron. Ron the evil. Ron the indestructible. Ron the scary stew.
Ginny noticed the hesitation in Hermione's voice before she had uttered Ron's name.
Hermione, no one blames you. Ron was a total arse, and the whole world knows it.
A total arse, I'm telling you. Anyone else sense a desperate attempt to sound British?
Which is hilarious because the voice we chose for Ginny actually is a British woman.
He just let the whole bloody Quidditch thing go to his head. Maybe if he had never made the team, things would have been different between you two.
Right. If you'd read the books, you'd know Ron always had problems with performing in public. And I do mean Quidditch performances. Knowing the way this fic works, I thought it wiser to specify.
Hermione shook her head.
I don't really know. There were so many ifs when it came to Ron and me. What if I had dated him first?
Did you actually want to date him, or is this just wildly hypothetical?
What if he hadn't been bitten by Remus and turned into a werewolf?
In case you're wondering why Remus went mad, he had a tiff with his boyfriend Snape, who as a result refused to brew wolfsbane. True fact.
And then Dobby ran away crying. We don't blame him.
What if we had ignored the dangers and made love?
Yikes, what? Were you dating Ron? Why? Herr Stewry is your one true love, trademark. Hermione, you slut. Geez, I can't believe you'd do something like that. I am so disappointed in you. Also, Ron would only wolf out on a full moon night. This isn't frickin' Twilight. You'd be perfectly safe at all times except during the full moon. You only use that as an excuse to keep your body pure and clean for your one true love, trademark. Until he comes to reclaim it.
So, just to be clear, we're shaming sluts and we're shaming virgins.
I give with my confession. Got nothing to hide no more. I don't know where to start. So let me tell you about the size of his part.